today I wanted to share what I do for meal planning. I don't have a big family, just my husband and I and our little girl, but these are the things that I've experimented with and figured out. And I try to always think ahead because my husband and I would like to have more children, so I just try to think ahead of like what would work well for a big family. Obviously, I don't have experience, but what would hopefully work well. So what I've done is I've made meal idea lists. So I have a list of meal ideas for breakfast, a list of meal ideas for lunch, and the same for supper. That way I don't have to just be thinking of something new all the time, but I found things that we like and that I know we like, so I can just make the same thing, basically rotate through making the same things. And if I have time to make a experiment meal, then I can do that. So for my breakfast list, I have pancakes, granola, oatmeal, and scrambled eggs. My husband usually has to leave pretty early for work, and I'm still usually taking care of the baby, so I try to have something that he can easily put together where he doesn't have to go cooking something in the morning. So I have a video on how I make my pancakes, and so that I can just put in the fridge or the freezer, make a big batch, put them in the fridge or the freezer, and then I'm all set for a week or two, whatever, depending on how many I make. And then granola obviously can just be in a bag, pour milk on it, and it's ready. That, of course, doesn't have very much protein besides the milk, versus my pancakes have yogurt in them and a good deal of it. So that would be more of a high protein meal. And then oatmeal also doesn't have a lot of protein. I guess it depends on what you pair it with. But I found an oatmeal recipe that I really like that has like cream cheese and milk in it, and it is very good. It's kind of like a cinnamon roll oatmeal is the idea. And then for scrambled eggs, obviously that's simple, but I wouldn't be able to make those ahead of time as well for my husband, and that's a little more than I want him to have to do in the mornings. So that would be probably something more for me and my 1-year-old. And I also would do scrambled eggs for lunch potentially. I just put it on the breakfast list. So for lunch ideas, I have egg salad, smoothies, chicken salad, and sandwiches. The egg salad, I have a video on that. I just hard boil eggs, and I do like a dozen, so that way I have some for ahead of time. That way I don't have to hard boil eggs every day. And then I just chop them up, or I need to peel them, chop them up, and then put on the dressing and whatever to make the egg salad. So that's usually pretty quick. And then for smoothies, you can obviously make a smoothie out of anything. I like to put cottage cheese in my smoothies for extra protein, especially for my little girl. And in the summer, it's so nice to have something just cold and refreshing, like with frozen fruit in it. And then chicken salad, obviously, you can make different chicken salads. I usually like to put celery in mine and mayonnaise, and then, make like a couple days worth and then have it ready. And then for sandwich, I also have sandwiches here, and you can obviously put whatever you want in a sandwich. I like to do sliced turkey and cheese, lettuce, and barbecue sauce. But that's sort of like a backup if I need to do something that's really quick and I didn't really plan ahead. I usually pack my husband with sandwiches for lunch, and those are able to store well and be good cold, in a lunch bag, store well in a lunch bag, and they're good cold. So those are my lunch ideas. And then for supper, I have lasagna soup, quiche, pizza, and then doing like a pasta, veggies, and meat dish. You could also do rice, veggies, and meat, and different whatever seasonings you want. And then curry chicken and rice, and burgers. And, those are just a few examples. Obviously, those are just things that we like as a family. I like to do my quiches with a crust and put in peas and corn. Those are good. And then pizza, I like to do my homemade pizza dough and put on cheese and tomato sauce. Pasta, veggies, and meat obviously can be any kind of pasta you prefer. I like the macaroni pasta. That's my favorite. I think that's just our general favorite. And then veggies, I usually like to do like Brussels sprouts or corn or broccoli or green beans. And then for meat, I usually just like beef. Sometimes we have venison, so that's another option. Just whatever you have and that you can access easily. With all these things, these are kind of meals where you can just use ingredients that you already have, and you don't have to go to the store, say, to get a lot of these things. You can just have them in bulk. I think that's something that has really helped our family is shopping in bulk, from, big bags of things at Walmart to getting things from Azure Standard. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're a company that ships all across the United States that sells really good organic and bulk foods. You'll probably see a lot of their products in my videos because I use them a lot. And then some more things that we have for suppers are curry chicken and rice. I just do like a curry powder with butter and honey. You could also use oil instead of butter, and then cook that up and then do it with rice, and that's really good. And then burgers. We were very blessed at our wedding a few years back to receive a grill, so I'm able to grill burgers, which is really nice. Obviously, not everyone maybe has that, so you can do it on the stovetop too. That's good. We did that for many years, my family. So anyway, those are my just sample ideas for meals. Basically, just find meals when you're not in a busy season, find meals that you all like and in your family, and then write them down. That way you have meals to fall back on. I like to make a largish portion of a meal, so like several days worth, and then also sometimes I'll freeze some of it. That way I have some meals in the freezer that I can just pop out. Things like quiche and lasagna soup and the pasta and veggies and meat, those would all freeze very well, or freezing burgers even. I haven't really done that, but I'm sure it would be good. So those are the things that I like to do, is just make a bunch ahead of time. That way I don't have to cook a new supper every night. So usually what I try to do is like I'll make pancakes one day for, a week or two's worth and put some in the freezer. And then the next day, then I can do, hard boiling the eggs for the week. And then I can have a busy day where I don't have time to do anything. And then I can the next day do, make the lasagna soup or whatever we're going to have. But lasagna soup, for example, I can make lasagna soup, and then I don't need to cook a supper and a breakfast every day because I'm making a large enough portion that I can freeze some and we have some for a few days. Now, obviously, not everybody wants to eat the same supper for multiple days in a row. So you could also cook, say a big pot of lasagna soup one day and then a quiche the next day and a pizza the next day, and you wouldn't have to eat it all the same day. You could freeze some and then rotate through that way. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about bulk, what I buy in bulk. I like to buy pasta in bulk and rice and flour, and I try to get all those organic from Azure. And then I also will buy frozen fruit, specifically berries, like blueberries from them in bulk. That way I just have it ready to eat with pancakes or in a smoothie or whatever. When it comes to like fruit that has a peel, like mango, for instance, I will usually just get that frozen from Walmart and not get that organic because I figure it has a peel, so it's probably the fruit itself is probably somewhat protected from any spray or chemicals that they would put on it. So then as far as meats, I try to just get a good quality meat. It's not necessarily organic. Same with cheese, but I just try to get that in bulk whenever I am at a store and I see, a good price. So yeah, I think that that's all, and that's my meal planning tips. So I hope that can help you have ideas, and may the Lord bless you as you feed your family.